We have a panel discussion on the topic critical role of data center service and maintenance teams involving data centers during this pandemic. Join me in welcoming Mr. N.K. Singh, the moderator of this session. He is the founder of Data Center Guru. Mr. Singh is one of the known data center experts in India who has designed and implemented 100+ data centers of different types and capacities in India and abroad. And we have detailed understanding of data center infrastructure in nuts and bolts level. Joining him, we have our power panel. First up, we have Mr. Srijit G, VP Data Center Operations, STP GDC India. He is a senior data center operations professional with experience of over 20 years in data center infrastructure, operations management, service delivery, project management and infrastructure monitoring, and management in the IT and ICT industry. Joining him, we have Mr. Girish Dhawale, CTO CP Technologies Limited. He has a 25+ experience and has witnessed data center industry growth in India from computer room to a cloud setup, well versed with advantages and challenges for business operations in India. We have Mr. Prasad Rao, Director IT Infrastructure and Academy. Prasad is a leader with over 19+ of experience in leveraging technology to optimize business, process, and drive organizational growth. We have Mr. Brahma Reddy Kasu, Senior Vice President, Data Center Infrastructure, Control S. Mr. Kasu is a seasoned data center industry professional and is credited with building India's largest rated 4 data center. He has rich experience in designing and building hyperscale and large format data centers spread across 2 million square feet. Over to you, Mr. Singh.
Thank you. Thanks for the brief introduction. And I sincerely thank W Media for giving me opportunity to moderate this critical panel with industry experts. And this topic is also very, very interesting when we talk about critical role of data center service and maintenance teams evolving during this pandemic. So it is, before I start on the topic, people may know me. Only thing is that Data Center Guru is new. So in nutshell, what I can say is Data Center Guru provides solution to each and every service problems or challenges through different unique services. And that is the key criteria based on which the service portfolio has been built. And keeping this in mind, I am moving to the topic where whatever infrastructure you build is okay, but how do you sustain the same reliability and performance of the data center across the lifespan is a role which is being delivered by the operation and management of data center. And when we talk about in the current times where the criticality or business criticality and the size and scale of the data centers are increasing day by day. So operation and management role or the maturity of operation and management becoming more and more important and relevant, because it is not only sustaining the reliability and performance, but also how do you improve, how do you drive efficiency and effectivity depends drastically on your operation and management program. And a few data points I wanted to share before we get into the question and answer session to emphasize on the criticality of it. Uptime Institute does a global survey, and HParade, I think more than 30% of the failures which happens in the data centers or outages which happens are attributable to the data center facility, and 70% of those are attributable to the human error. A very, very interesting part of what is observed is 80% of those impacted has admitted that those problems could have been avoided. So this further put a question mark, are we mature or where are we on the maturity curve? So with this, I wanted to move on to the question answer session. So when we talk about maturity, when we talk about standards, best practices, because these things only assure you the outcome. The probability outcome increases if you follow certain standards, certain best practices, or maturity stuff, because those things are practice. So I would like to go to Srijit. So the question is, are you following any specific standards in your operation and management program? Please elaborate. If not, then what is the maturity level you put yourself on the data center operation and maturity? Just to give you the maturity, what my understanding, it is a 5-level maturity milestone of the curve, where you start from ad hoc to reactive to proactive, then you become managed, and finally optimized, where you keep on driving the optimization on year basis. And the next step may be self-optimizing. So over to you, Srijit.
Thanks, NK, and very good morning, good afternoon, good evening to the entire people who is taking your time from the busy schedule to attend this event. And as NK rightly mentioned, thanks to W Media to select this topic because the operations and maintenance for a critical facility is very, very highly important and complex. Yes, I agree with NK that the critical facilities built design, yes, it is a temporary process. Typically, it happens nowadays the span of maybe 24 months time frame with a multi, let's say 10 megawatt, 50 megawatt data centers are getting built in 24 to 36 time frame. But the operation life cycle is going to be at least 25 plus years, and we have examples in front of us. Even I am operating the mix of data centers, which is as old as 20 years plus data centers. So it is a complex process procedures. And, I just wanted to jump on the maturity curve. I'm not sure whether are we in a position to talk about in a maturity curve at this point of time. Again, let me be very, very honest. I don't want to claim that we are self-esteemed or optimized or very high there. But to me, it is somewhere between, it is definitely not ad hoc, but it definitely we stand between reactive and proactive. Of course, we are coming into proactive mode thanks to a lot of, MNCs and hyperscaler customers are coming and engaging with all of us. So their engagement is also kind of helping us to get the operational maturity curve into some stage, shape, and form. So coming back to the specific question, NK, are we following a specific operational standard? Yes, we are. So let's say if you look at the industry, because I know many of our friends in this forum as well. So there are benchmarks, there are standards around us. So the typical operational environment is a kind of taking these guidelines and develop your own framework. That is a typical framework and typical standard which we follow. And in this case, all of us are, most of the data center providers are certified to the standards like ISO 9001, which is an operational and support framework, and ISO 20000, which is the IT service management certification, including ITIL framework. So these are some of the well-known framework or standards which is being followed or which is adopted as a guideline for operators to follow. So definitely we are all adopted few the guidelines and we are complying to the standards of this standards. And of course, the people like Uptime Institute or TIAs, these entities are also providing us certain best practices. But again, while taking this best practices and guidelines, it is important for us to develop your internal framework and benchmarks, right? So typically, if you ask me, personally, I follow a five-pillar approach. We call it, maybe we can talk it as a Pentagon framework for operations. So it starts with the what kind of technologies build from the design and build stage. Again, design and build stage is a crucial stage where we urge the design people look at not only the redundancy aspects, we also have to look at the long-term efficiency aspects plus the operability in the long time, because that is very important. So technology is very important. Then the tools which we use, the tools, what are the tools we look at? The hardware tools like, the high-end power quality meters, and then the BMS system or the DCIM infrastructure or analytics tools. So these are the tools we need to look at in the second term. And third, of course, the processes around how do you develop the operational processes. So which includes, your standard operating procedures, emergency operating procedures, and then your risk assessment procedures, how the preventive maintenance, the incident management procedures, the root cause analysis, the problem management procedures, and service request. A lot of various processes around to build day-to-day operations. Then it comes to most important pillar is the people. So how do you have the staffing structure in the operation? So staffing structure is very, very important. Again, some trend is like, let's say if you add 1 megawatt, add another 5 people. That is not going to be the solution. So have a right optimized staffing plan. So that gives the people aspect. Then comes to the risk aspect. So the risk is again dynamic, right? There is no static risk in the infrastructure or operation. So the risks are evolved. There are risks getting identified day-to-day basis, month-on-month basis, and we have the proper risk treatment plan against the risk, and it is a continuous process. So we need to follow. So we take this, Pentagon approach of considering technology, tools, process, people, and risk, and again adopting practices from ISOs and uptimes and TIAs and various other guidelines, which is evolved from our experiences and engagement practices from the customers. So this is what I would like to tell you at this point of time.
Great, Srijit, thanks. The purpose of bringing this to your notice is, as you know, you talked about ITIL, you talked about 20,000. IT layer or IT team is already following those kind of framework. Only thing is that how do we incorporate those framework in our facility management aspect of it? So that drives also the maturity level from that perspective. When you talk about 4 Ps, the people, process, product, and partner. Now, coming to next, as you know, we talked about human error and we talk about people. So I'm coming back to Brahma. You are also one of the oldest data center operator. So the question is, how do you reduce the human error in your data center, which is one of the major cause in the industry? So what exactly you have been doing on any specific actions or process centricity, or how the entire?
Yeah. Thank you, NK. Thanks for introduction. And I'm glad to be part of this panel. Yeah. So thanks to W Media keeping me part of this particular panel. Yeah, there are. I think it's a need of the hour, if you ask me. NK, the processes. It is a need of hour, because if you look at expansion, the way the global expansion, globally, the data center expansion, precisely in India, if you look at multi-fold expansion. So people are talking about multi-mega projects, megawatts of projects, right? So everyone announcing 300 megawatt, 400 megawatt, hundreds of megawatts, right? So it is going to be reality. Maybe in 5 years or 10 years time, it's going to be reality. So having that kind of rapid growth and, the very intensified infrastructure projects, the process definitely play a very vital role. So that's where even controllers, we strongly believe in that. Okay, bringing right tested process in operations always avoids human errors. But just bringing processes in place will not solve the 100% process unless and we adhere to it and we follow it and we identify the risk outs of it. So for that, again, bringing automation to it. So one is setting up the process, again, bringing automation of that process to simplify the overall process and avoid human errors, and again, audit around the process and automation with the governance. There are 3 point approach we generally believe in getting the sustainable operations in whole aspect. Okay, if you look at the process we always derive from the, it's a customer centric because we are the IDC players, right? So co-location players. We should serve all kind of customers. Okay, the customer centric, what customers typically look at is SLA in the first place, and the security, then the sustainability and the environmental friendly and the energy optimization. All these are the key demand from the customer other than the service. So we always look at customer centric, backward integrated process into our system. So that's where if you look at the customer experience with us so far and the availability that we have given to the customer, the overall reliability perspective is almost 100% since inception. So how we derived is, yes, of course, Srijit mentioned earlier. So the processes starts with your SOPs, MOPs, EOPs, or change request, incident management, or problem management, or vendor management. It all should go with very systematic approach. Whenever we roll out a process, the process should go to the test drive. Okay, so once we test that, it passes through it, it goes with its own level of screening. Then once everyone agree, we put them into the test mode. Then once it's successful, then we put them into it. So by implementing all this process, we have seen really great results of, the transparency into the system and accessibility to the people, equal information, and getting change anywhere that goes percolates to the up to the roots. Okay, thereafter we found the lack of, still we found certain level of human errors. Sometimes people override, sometimes, things get slightly, under the mat, all those situations. That's where we thought of bringing automation into the place, process automation. Process automation really helped us. For example, all our SOPs, UOPs, and MOPs, and the incident management and ticket raising, solving, everything we have automated. So we are using various tools. Part of that, one of the tool is CMMS, is the computerized maintenance management tool. So what we integrate that to the extent that if you look at the typical data center, people have habit of taking a logbook, go to the every equipment and write all the readings and again come out of it. What advantage are we getting out of that reading is the question mark. There are very few people can sensitize. Okay, what we have done, we just put one RFID tag there, and we have a software which can go and just tap it. It pulls the data automatically rather than writing. And also it compiles with the week before data and a month before or a year before data of the same device, and see the trend, how the equipment is performing. Is that derating or something to be taken care, or any voltage fluctuations among last 1 week? So all the data is seen at the field. Of course, taking rounds across the facilities, the mandate need, no doubt, because it brings a lot of visibility across the infrastructure. Where with this tool, we could be able to see particular equipment history within a with a couple of seconds. Then analyze, and also it gives us the trends and alerts. Okay, last 1 year, this is a situation. This is something going wrong. So the person can raise the ticket and take corrective actions. So after implementing the automation, we limited so many human errors. And the third point is audit and governance. Once we have process automation, there are many observations. That observation to be thoroughly audited and come up with an action plan, and then also those action plans should be articulated in a closure stage, right? So for that, the audits makes definitely a vital role. There are two types of audits we generally believe in: the process audit and technical audit. So we bring people like you on board and who can go through the whole system and our processes and come up with their observations. Okay, because their thought process could be something else. They may come up with a different perspective. So that's where we list down. We involve all our stakeholders, get onto the discussion table, list down all of them, put dates and fix it. So that's where we strongly believe in that process, then process automation, then audit with the governance brings a lot of reliability and the sustainability into the operations, and you can avoid as much as possible human errors. That's what it is.
Thank you very much, Brahma. I think you have elaborated well in terms of process, enablement, controls, and enforcement and automation.
Yes.
So that's drive the entire cycle. And obviously, why we are talking about process, one of the key thing is eliminating or reducing human error is people don't have to think, they have to just follow. So if you enable them to follow, then obviously the human errors are going to reduce drastically. Thanks. Now I'm coming back to Girish. So you are also one of the oldest data center player in India, and you are managing multiple data center across. And obviously, when we talk about data center operations, it is a highly people-intensive activity or program. So if you talk about the overall cost of operations, the major chunk, what you see, or obviously depends on how you are running the program. The percentage defines the intents or the volume of the people in the data center. So my question is, how do you optimize, or how have you been optimizing the number of people in the data center operation domain? You have got multiple data centers, you have got multiple teams. How do you do that? And if any specific outcome, if we can be able to share, that will be, further great for all of us.
Thanks, NK. Thank you very much. And thank you all the participants for taking out the very vital time out of your busy schedule to hear all the panelists. Basically, I know every one of them, work with them, and all our friends. They are very much subject matter experts into their field. And thank you, WMedia, to giving us the opportunity for sharing some knowledge basis what we have collected from our past working experience. So coming to the people management and the optimization of the people. This is a very crucial subject which we are touched upon, and you must have heard Brahma, you must have heard Srijit, who is talking about the process, who is talking about the automation. Definitely these two tools are there to increase the skill set levels of the peoples. And then the further comes is the optimization. So if you coming directly to the subject, how I can do the optimization, and rather than I will say the optimization, I will say what is the right fit of the manpower for the data center operations. So first and foremost important is when we talk about the data center operations, the backbone of the data center operation is always the process management. So the process, how effectively you are implementing those processes into your business as usual, into your maintenance regime, and into your predictive analysis, that defines how you are going to achieve the operation sustainability into your operations. That is point number one. Point number two, when we talk about the backbone, what is important in the backbone is the first thing is what is the input and output which is coming. So either we talk about the input, that is the BMS system, or the computerized maintenance management system, or we talked about the different type of, like Brahma has touched upon the smart devices, where you can go to the EFC tags or the RFID tags, collect the data, and this entire database which is coming and getting accumulated at one single location. Out of that, how much we are utilizing that data to come out with the analysis, that is important. So what we need is the analytical tool which will drive the outcome either in terms of the abnormality, either in terms of the capacity bottleneck, either in terms of the end of life, either it is in terms of the reliability. These are the different aspects of the data centers. This should be driven out as a reports to those peoples who are supposed to make the decisions, so that before anything convert into a small, medium, or large incident, you can able to take the actions immediately and appropriately. So first, how you can do the people's optimizations or right set of peoples is by having a right set of analytics tools into your system, which will give the predictive analysis onto the infrastructure performance and the infrastructure management, which will help the team to reduce their time and the bandwidth to take the decisions and taking the appropriate actions. Second thing is the skill set. Now in the data centers, you have right from the infrastructure to the IT, security, safety, every different type of team members who are available. The most important, when we talk about the different stream of the team members, you need to work as one single team. Okay, so everybody is working as a different verticals, having a separate KPI, KRA, but always look at what is organization's SLA towards the customers, and what is the organization's KPIs, and everybody should be aligned to only achieve the organization objective, and also looking beyond is customer engagement. So you should be always ahead of the customer rather than working only on the customer SLAs. What is mean by the ahead of the customer is the customer should have the wow experience from my team. And that is only possible when you can expect before customer asks something to you and you deliver it, so that customer don't have to run behind you for any request. Either it is a small reports or it is related to the customer service request. And that is the most important aspect in the people management. So when you define your team, always keep customer focused and customer obsession approach for your team. And that should become a DNA for every team members who is working inside the data center. Third thing is the skill set mapping. Every team member, we define the KRA, we define roles and responsibilities. But what is important is what is the aspirations and career growth this individual is looking for. And accordingly, make the skill set mapping, identify the gaps in the skill set, provide them the right level of the training so that they will meet their requirement or the required aspirations right in the time frame. And then the engagement of the team becomes very important. So providing the right level of the training, right kind of the training to the employees after understanding their career growth plan, after understanding their aspirations, that is important. Every individual is having a strength. That strength we need to pamper. Every individual is having the weakness. That weakness need to be improved by the training. By this, you are achieving the best person or the best employee for your organization. Having the best all the employees with a team structure, you can achieve the optimization at a right level, and then you can run the data centers at a very effective manner. The last part is having the right organization structure. You need to have a governance team, you need to have a middle management team, and you need to have an outsourced team. What is the governance team's roles and responsibilities? Are making the decisions which are strategic decisions towards the customer oriented decisions, towards organization oriented decision. Middle management is more towards taking the decisions basis the analytical outputs which are coming from the bottom team, and also should meet the customer's business as usual requirement. And the outsourced team, who will be most important, because those are ear and eyes for the middle management as well as governance management. So keep your outsourced team engaged and give them the right kind of remunerations, right kind of roles, responsibilities, and right kind of business, career growth opportunities. That is how you have to build. So having the right organization structure. Second thing, the skill set mapping and the training arrangement for the team, understanding their aspirations and making the career growth plan for them. Then putting the process in place, taking the analytical approaches from the process so that decisions can be made before the incidents could have happened. These are the few, I will say 4 or 5 attributes which need to be worked to have a right skill and right scale of team for the data center operation. NK.
Yeah, thank you, Girish. I think, in fact, we have elaborated the entire stuff in the resource planning and part of optimization, we were also talking about using technology, how much you can be able to leverage. And the best example is pandemic itself. During pandemic, the data center was run at a minimum number of resources. And that is the time where organization actually started leveraging this technology and trying to live with what they have and maintain the operation and management. Coming back to Prashad, if when we talk about data center, utilization is always a major challenge, where you plan for, let us say, 5 megawatt, and your data center would be running up 1 megawatt or 2 megawatt, or even 4-5 megawatt. So, actual between design and the reality, there is a huge gap, and that for that gap, the organization has to pay a heavy price for it. So nowadays, with the size and scale, organization has got a big focus on how do we start enhancing or increasing the utilization level of the data center. So I would like to have your view on that. How do you see enhancing the utilization of your data center?
Perfect. Okay. So first of all, thanks for having me here, and very good to see you all gentlemen from the service provider industry. And I'm from the consumer industry. So I consume a lot of things.
Yes, you are the only consumer industry.
Right. So I have worked with probably all of these big names in my past experiences. So yes, during this pandemic specifically, when we had to kind of scale down a lot of these operations, not in my current industry, because I'm currently in Unacademy, which is an online education platform. So our utilization actually went up very, very to a large extent. So, but otherwise, I have seen a lot of my friends that they had allocated certain amount of infrastructure, starting from power to compute and everything, even the bandwidth also, and the utilization went drastically went down. And yes, and the organizations went through this cost-cutting spree. So how do we actually manage this? It is a very big challenge for, I think, for all of us, in the consumer industry. So I would have probably expected the service providers also to kind of be flexible there, because in this kind of pandemic scenario, because nobody can plan for this, right? Nobody was even planned for this kind of day also would come in, and it is, I would say, it's kind of a win-win situation. Being a consumer, we take 2 steps, and the service providers come another couple of steps where we can okay, fine. I have probably given an order for a 5 kilowatt power, but my utilization is only 2 or 3. Please do something there. I think we went ahead with this strategy in all, not only data center. I think all the consumer area probably. So I think to probably to avoid to some extent, I think right planning is very, very important when you actually design your infrastructure, or starting from the basic infrastructure to a large power storage and everything. That's where most of the organizations miss. That okay, today I have an application coming in. This requires this much of compute. These many racks has to be there, and we go ahead and buy them and go with some kind of a contract with the service provider. Probably a detailed planning would help there. Detailed insight of the past utilization, and also kind of flexibility where we have we can add and modify the resources in between. So these kind of planning probably would help to a very large extent to deal with this kind of situation where the utilization is lesser than the actual planned resources that we have procured from the service providers. Yeah, and coming to the title of this panel subject, the maintenance and service, the service and maintenance team. Good to hear from all of you. I know what goes behind your data center operations. we see only the cream layer of it. We are the, end customers, but I know a lot of things, starting from an office boy to a cleaning person. I would like to get to touch that level also. It becomes very important. Anything going wrong in the cable, a single power cable or a network cable going for a toss, it is a big downtime or a big SLA breach for the end customer. So yeah, it is really a humongous task for all of us, actually.
Great, Prasad. I think you have given a very good insight from the user perspective. So I'm going back to Srijit again, because one of the key thing or activity in operation and management program is a continuous improvement. And this continuous improvement cycle is something which is not new, which is has been in our life for ages. We have been using in our IT service management very well. I just wanted to know from Srijit how well you are following this continuous improvement program, and if there is any specific actions or results which you have achieved, that would be great. And we have a very around 10 minutes time. So the crisp and concise answers would be really well appreciated. Thanks.
Sure, NK. So we can make it as short as possible. See, continuous improvement and consistency in performance is a key in operations, right? See, in operations is a continuous process itself. So in operations, we cannot have a static activity or a short-term wins. Again, in operations, I keep talking in forums and to my team as well. The operational performance can be correlated with the example of Sachin Tendulkar's 100th century, correct? See, Sachin Tendulkar scored 99 centuries, we are aware, and he was in his team. And he took about 2.5 years to score another century, which he was criticized, of his lifetime by all these analysts and gurus and other things. That means everybody started forgetting the 99 centuries. 99 centuries itself, it is a big task, and I still doubt who is going to break that record. But the kind of expectation from Sachin Tendulkar is that he has to score centuries after centuries in every innings, which is very, very unlikely and difficulty. Having said that, that is how the operation life is. See, operation life, there is no short-time successes, there is no short-time gains. And the industry and the management, whoever it is, expects the same level of operational performance at the same level or on an increased performance level. So let's say if you do a best practice implementation, yes, good. But what next? So how it is tested, right? So Brahma rightly mentioned about the testing and implementation. That is the key, right? So again, when you talk about continuous environment, there are a lot of aspect to it. We need to talk about 360-degree approach to this. So if you look at in a typical data center, ecosystem, if you look at the ecosystem consists of customers, service providers. So let's say we are service provider, 3 of us are sitting here, service providers, and the Prasad on the other hand is a customer, and the O&M service partners and OEM people. So these are the critical people who are the contributor in the ecosystem. Of course, the external parties like regulatory bodies and those government authorities are still there as an external influence and mandatory guidelines. So when you look at this continuous improvement and consistency in operations, we need to look at this 360-degree approach. How are we engaged with customer? And Girish touched upon making a customer wow experience. That means before customer comes and demand, we need to have an ecosystem, or we need to have a process and procedures to demonstrate customer, yes, this is already built in our operational processes. So that is number one. And then how you are engaged with your backend support systems like your own O&M service providers and OEM partners, right? A strong governance is a need for an hour. Yes, we have governance, but again, how consistently we are doing this governance with your own partners. And of course, it's up to customers, and it's a back and forth mechanism. Customers comes and have a governance mechanism like MPRs and QBRs and things like that. And the similar fashion, do we have an appropriate governance mechanism with our OEM and O&M partners? That is a question mark. Again, if it is not there, you know, develop it. And again, when you develop it, it is a key to continuously do it. And again, why do you do that governance? It is a continuous process. Again, as a PDCA circle, you take the observations, you take the inputs, and again, the opportunity for improvement. I'm sure we will not have a day where we don't have any kind of opportunity for improvement. So every day in operations, we will definitely have points. How do you take that points? It may be an opportunity for improvement. It may be a risk item. It may be a residual risk item. So how well you take it up, orient it in a short time, medium time, long time plan, and implement it and move forward. So that is a key to have this continuous improvement process. And again, how often you really cut your process procedures, right? And do you have a process around it, or do you do it for the sake of doing it, or do you do it effectively doing it? Again, audit internally and externally make a big key. And again, I'm not talking about the compliance audit like ISOs. It is a check mark in your operational listing, but an effective audit program, maybe a very well expert, maybe an international expert. Are we doing it at least on a yearly basis, or in a once in 2 years kind of thing? So these are the things which we need to look at. And of course, as Girish mentioned, the predictive analysis tools. So we need to have a proper tools in place to have a predictive analysis, proactive risk assessment, and the respective risk treatment plan. Again, we need to look at the short time, medium time, and long time plan. And this is a recurring process. So this is what I just want to tell you on a very cut short.
Yeah. Thanks, Rajat. Why we talk continuous improvement? Because there is always a scope for improvement. It is all about how do you analyze and how do you find the scope of improvement. So obviously, this is something which organization has to do on a defined frequency, and that's how you can be able to drive improvement. Now, coming back to Brahmaji. So, the opposite part of improvement is emergency, right? So, emergency is something which comes surprisingly, and your preparedness defines how you are able to deal with it. So, this asking you is because you are also one of the, I would say, oldest and the largest. So you must have faced such kind of ups and downs. And how did you come out of it or come over it? Any specific incidents would be really useful and appreciable.
Sorry to interrupt. We have 5 minutes. We're running out of time, so.
Yeah, so
sure. We'll wind up. As of course, it's definitely. Of course, so far we were feeling that we are ready for the all kind of emergencies, because by providing bunker beds, required food stocks, and creating all workforce around within 3 kilometers to take care of floods, and so we were feeling that we prepared for any kind of circumstances, but COVID made different path altogether. Okay, created many nightmares during the very initial days. Of course, thereafter we used to, but it has triggered many other directions in readiness for emergency situations like this. Okay, so that we started implementing in. Of course, we have strengthened all our emergency plans. Okay, looking at the COVID situation in operations. Okay. There also it has the new thought process has came into the picture. Zero human intervention was the concept which we would like to drive. That does not mean that we don't keep any people around the systems. Okay, but we want to go as much as possible, because if you look at initial days of COVID, people talk about there is a COVID case, we have to evacuate the whole facility, hand our facility back to the local municipalities or utility, where they will come and again. So there was a lot of apprehension. So if that comes in the real scenario, how do we deal with the situation? So can our data center sustain for 2 days, 3 days with a single person, having just fuel feed and water feed to the data center? Can we really make the data centers to that extent of automation? So that was a thought process we started. I think we are going great in that direction. It's almost 99% of our data centers we come to a zero human intervention kind of automation tools. For example, if you look at our chiller plants, which we implement with the total variable concept with complete AL ML, which we deployed there with IoTs, it is giving very, very great results out of it. What we learn out of these emergencies, coming up with some new innovative ideas and automating the whole system, avoiding how to deal with these kind of emergency situations. So I'll cut short. There is a lot more experience to share with among the team, because we have gone to the serious phase of it since a short of the time. But it definitely, we are prepared for the future. We got many ideas. Even there is a session that we opened in the designs phase, that how do we deal with emergency scenarios? Are we incorporating all emergency the scenarios into the design element itself? So that's where we are coming from. That's all.
Thank you, Brahmaji. Forum, how much time we have?
We are beyond time already.
So any question is there?
I'll take it offline.
Okay, fine. So I'm sorry, Girish and Prasad, I'm not able to come for the next round because of the time constraint. And at the same time, I would like to thank all of you for your valued information, valued insights, and your speak itself talk about your expertise level in this particular area. And as far as Data Center Guru is concerned, we set up operation and management program for data center. So you can ramp up your maturity level of your data center immediately. So we take care of process and controls the completely, and the training and everything part. So it is going to be somewhere in the help. So thanks again. Thanks to the viewer for having patience hearing the entire discussion. So over to you, Forum.
Thank you.
Have a great day to all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the informative session.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.